Quick note, I had some recording issues, so all footage is from the 5th and 6th hours of gameplay, but don't worry, no story spoilers included. Gacha game popularity is on the rise, and the latest contender is Wuthering Waves by Kuro Games, a Chinese development studio and creators of Punishing Gray Raven. This game promises open-world exploration, challenging combat, and cross-progression across mobile and PC, with console support on the horizon. For those new to the genre, gacha games are usually free-to-play with in-game mechanics that offer randomized chances to get featured characters and weapons, all to entice players into spending real-world money. While not exactly pay to win, generally all content is accessible to free-to-play players, money is often needed to collect all the game's offerings. For some background, I'm relatively new to this genre, but love the live service aspect of ongoing content updates, releasing new playable content, characters, and events. So, with a flood of new gacha games incoming, does Wuthering Waves rise above the torrent, or does it get lost in the storm? Let's dive in and check it out. The game kicks off with the classic amnesiac protagonist trope. Choose your male or female character, wake up in a strange world, and quickly meet the allies you'll fight alongside. The graphics, art direction, and sound are top-notch. It's clear this game has a high production value. The post-apocalyptic world looks and feels unique with its landmarks and enemy design. Combat is snappy, nuanced, and straight-away fun. And moving around the world with infinite sprint, wall running, and a glider feels great. Technical issues were aplenty at launch though. I think this game definitely needed some more testing and optimization time. But Kuro's been hard at work with updates and hotfixes, and the game is in a much better state now. Sadly, the dialogue is a major letdown. It's poorly written, badly translated, and spoken with a slow, emotionless delivery. It's a shame because the intriguing world and premise deserve better storytelling and a proper setup of the characters and conflict, rather than lore dumping. After a small taste of combat in the tutorial, the second hour is heavy on story, it's just bland and hard to follow with way too much jargon. I had to try really hard not to skip the dialogue, which is not a good sign this early in. On the bright side, the first central city is beautiful, with soothing music and lots to explore. I got a grappling hook for easier traversal and rolled on my first banner, which in gacha gaming means spending limited in-game resources for a chance to obtain a featured character or weapon. Kuro has been very generous with initial materials and banner setups, and there's no trouble building out a completely viable team or two for most of the game's content, with no money. I've played with all the characters I have access to, and each of their playstyles and abilities are distinct and feel really good to play. The third hour had more story and lore dumps, but the world opened up for exploration. The map is sizable with lots to do. Random mobs, puzzles, crafting materials collections, and combat challenges to find. The terrain design is excellent, and I'm enjoying the music in and out of combat. It's nothing too memorable, but it pairs with the game nicely. The puzzles are varied and just the right difficulty level, and I began collecting echoes, which drop from defeated enemies and act as gear and provide additional abilities. I also unlocked the exploration guide and events, which offer special promotions and rewards for completing tasks. There's always something to unlock or a reward to collect, keeping that dopamine drip dripping. By the fourth hour, my party started to come together, and I was learning to synergize their intro and outro abilities, which are triggered when you swap them in and out. Questing is basic and dialogue heavy, there is a skip button, but the combat, the star of the show, kept me engaged. I tackled my first boss fight and a tacit field, which is basically a time trial challenge, both of which were tons of fun. The main story arc began to take shape in the fifth hour. I met the antagonist, who's full of personality, and enjoyed a really cool storybook-style cutscene, which I definitely hope they do more of. I hit a gated story point requiring me to upgrade my union level, which basically dictates the world level and the content available to you. To upgrade it, you have to explore a quest and complete daily activities. I've done a bunch of different puzzles, I've leveled up my characters and their gear, and I also unlocked weekly boss challenges for Ascension materials.
What's it gonna be this time?
I knew going in that the first 5 hours would just be an appetizer for the full feast a game in this genre promises. After all, that's what gacha games are designed to do. Lure you in with free and easy to obtain rewards, and then tempt you with new content and characters as resources become harder and harder to get. You either resist the temptation, invest more time, or spend some money. I've done all three, so no judgment here. So far, I think Kuro Games has a winner. They've created a unique, visually appealing, and really fun to play game where its only glaring fault, outside of some lingering technical issues, is the story. The game has its hooks in me, and I'm excited to play more.